Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm once again excited to be joined by my friend and business partner, Mr. Michael Vincent, Mr. Podcaster Extraordinaire. I'm sure you've seen him over the years. And we work together on plastics waste reduction. You know, Michael is president and CEO Americas of OPT, right? Ocean Plastic Technologies. And then we also work with Cyberfuels on fuel and emissions reduction. And the key theme is we're helping people and companies make more money instead of spending more money. So it's kind of a win-win.
That's right. Make more money, spend less money, help the environment. It can actually be done.
It absolutely.
You know where else we're proving that? I always tell people okay. There's people who have like climate anxiety and so on and so forth, right? But it's a huge blue ocean of opportunities for new industry. It's amazing. It really is. It really is.
It truly is.
If it's a scam, I like it.
Well, I think the sustainability movement is here to stay, and it opens up a lot of opportunities. It really does.
Absolutely does.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, so, today's main topic is we're going to be talking about Saudi Arabia, according to AP News, to reduce oil output by 1 million barrels per day, while the rest of OPEC Plus extends previous cuts through 2024. So that's our big news story for today. And it made me think a little bit like, I've been working in the fuel reduction area for quite a while.
Yep.
But for those maybe that are not, have not been in fuel every day for years, I wanted to kind of give a brief history. What in the world is OPEC, right? So according to OPEC.org, I think it's a pretty reliable source. It's from OPEC. So the quoting their site, okay? So the Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries, also known as OPEC, was founded in Baghdad, Iraq, with the signing of an agreement in September 1960 by 5 countries, namely Islamic Republic of Iran, Iraq, Kuwait, Saudi Arabia, and Venezuela. They were to become the founder members of the organization. These countries were later joined by Qatar, Indonesia, Libya, the United Arab Emirates, Algeria, Nigeria, Ecuador, Gabon, Angola, Equatorial Guinea, and Congo. So I said a mouthful, but that's kind of how it came to be.
I had no idea Equatorial Guinea and Congo were large enough oil producers to be in OPEC, but cool.
I did not either. And the Gabon or Gabon, I don't know how it's pronounced. They're in there as well. I wouldn't have known that they were a big enough producer to be involved in OPEC either.
Yeah, they're old. I mean, they've been there a while. I mean, they're like ABA joining the NBA. They're not even like an expansion team, right? They're like the ABA, and Congo's like Heat or something,
right? Kids on the block.
Yeah, right. There you go. Kids on the block.
Well, then it also begged the question.
So what do they do?
Go ahead.
What do they do? What does OPEC do?
Yeah, why was OPEC formed?
Right.
So, according to Britannica. Did you use Encyclopedia Britannica growing up?
I did.
As did I, which I think all of that's on the internet now.
Probably, yeah, I think it is. I think you're right. Yeah, absolutely. It was Encyclopedia Britannica, and if it was the right time of the month and we had enough money, my mom could drive me to the city library and I could go look up stuff there. Otherwise, Yeah, I got to watch the evening news, and hopefully they'll talk about something interesting from my report the next day in school. Exactly.
I pulled most of my reference material from our Encyclopedia Britannicas at the house until I got to high school, and they're like, no. You got to have 4 sources. You can't go with one source with some pictures. That's not going to work anymore.
Yeah, it doesn't work anymore. Exactly. Yeah.
Well,
in the same boat.
The interesting thing is I found this on Britannica.com. Why was OPEC formed? So when OPEC was formed, and this is according to Britannica, of course, when OPEC was formed in 1960, its main goal was to prevent its concessionaries, the world's largest oil producers, refiners, and marketers, from lowering the price of oil, which they had always specified or posted, in quotes. So OPEC members sought to gain greater control over oil prices by coordinating their production and export. So that's the official story,
Yes. Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm sure you've seen this if you've lived in America. The oil prices have swung up and down and up and down and up and down over the years. And it's just been really interesting to watch that.
I mean, just driving up and down Middle Valley Road here, my gas prices will change by 30 cents over the course of a week, just up and down. They're bouncing between two numbers, but they're 30 cents apart.
Yeah.
And I mean, like one day it's like 280, the next day it's 310, then it's 280 the next day, then it's 310. And it's up and down and up and down, up and down. Yeah. I mean, and that's I think there's nothing more to the report. I think actually the headline in AP out of Frankfurt, Germany, is the exact wording, punctuation, and everything of the entire article.
Right.
To tell you the truth,
Yep.
because there's nothing more in it. To tell you the truth, there's no analysis of it yet or anything like that. But I would guess that it's going to come out that it was the same as before. You know, they cut production a little bit back, or decided to leave it where it was, but it was really just to keep prices stable as to where they are right now, right? And given the reports on, you know, that you see on our economy, and in particular the freight economy, and looking forward to the second half of 2023, where people think, you know, hopefully things get better, and so on and so forth. When you look at record low exports out of China to the United States over the last month, that doesn't bode well for a freight economy turnaround, which doesn't bode well for oil supply, which therefore the suppliers like OPEC, which if you read between those lines, it's not really covered up that much. It's not really hidden. It was to collude and control pricing.
Yeah. Right.
Period. The end. I mean, even say that's exactly what it was there for. Now, there are different reasons for it back then than right now. Kuwait doesn't need anybody to hold their hand and help them have money. Literally, streets are paved with gold. You know, but that's, you know, prices are not. There's no upward pressure on pricing right now. Let's put it that way.
Right.
No, and for the foreseeable future, there isn't really. Right.
Absolutely. Yep. So it's all about controlling price by squeezing the supply, basically, is what I mean, it just says it, like, squeeze the supply so we can control the price from not, you know, falling. And it's just,
which is, you know, it is an interesting thing to me, Andy, that concept, because, you know, that's exactly what it is. But the funny thing is, and it's not really that funny to me, it's kind of concerning to me, but is when you look at it, the physical aspects of squeezing the supply. Okay, less barrels are coming, right? Isn't the reason that the price goes up and down, though? You know, at the time they supposedly say that they have 4/5 of all the oil reserves, but they only produce 2/5 of all the oil in the world. So 2/5 of the people say, hey, we're going to cut a little bit. Big deal.
Right.
Deal.
Right.
So, but it changes because of sentiment, and it changes because of money and investment. That's why, because of human fear and hope, or it's sentiment. It's guessing. The same thing. You know, the aggression, the war in Ukraine didn't physically reduce the amount of oil that we had. It just didn't. It wasn't an actual physical impact. And yet the oil went up because it adjusted. Right? They got their oil from somewhere else, and that oil went somewhere else, and it adjusted rather quickly.
Right. Exactly.
Rather quickly. It was the fear that made it go up, right?
Yep, it's market sentiment, and I'll take it one step further. It's industrial money as well. I think that, you know, invest in this, don't invest in that, and there are even bigger though. Honestly,
no, you're right. You're right. There's money involved, and whether you want to call it a conspiracy or not, you can go that way and say it is. I consider it to be one of those conspiracies that nobody's really actually controlling. Right? It is this bad situation that is out there. Right? It's like. In my line of work, plastic recycling, very difficult to change it. Not everybody, but there are solutions to close the circular economy. But the linear structure of manufacturing is set up, and there's so much money invested in it that making that change is really hard to do. And it's not like there's this group going, "Oh, squash them like a bug and don't let this happen. It's conspiracy." It's just kind of set up difficult that way, right? And it's kind of the same way. Colonial Pipeline, for example, right? We could have easily avoided any type of shortage and price hike in the Northeast by just shipping it by tanker up to the Northeast. I mean, surface transportation tanker.
Right.
But nobody would do that because they were afraid that the price would change between loading up the tanker and it getting there. So in the interest of not losing money, the public got screwed over. Pretty much.
Right.
But it wasn't one person just saying, let them eat cake. It just was the way the system is.
Yeah, it's like the system. Right, exactly. Yeah.
Babylon.
Absolutely.
My man used to sing about it right over here.
Yep.
Well, that's Marley's hand right there.
Marley's hand didn't sing about it, but Marley sang about
Marley did, yes. His hand didn't.
Yes, and the other big thing is media, right? We live in the world of media, and they release. I went out and searched this story, and I'm not kidding when I say I found 100 stories released to the public that OPEC cut. And it's like that's sentiment, public sentiment, market sentiment. It drives, obviously the media drives that.
Absolutely. And you look at the names of the countries that are in there, and those names also come up in media and kind of taint your view of their altruistic nature.
Right.
Just put it that way, right?
Yes.
So you think,
right.
Immediately, look at OPEC's trying to screw the United States.
That's exactly it.
That's not what's happening.
A lot of the angles from the American press, of course, are we're being screwed over here. And
of course, well, the right wings are going to do that because, Biden needs to let us drill and all this other kind of stuff.
Yep. All kinds of games played, but it was just really interesting to see just how many individual unique headlines and stories there are around this.
100, huh? 100.
Yeah. You just page after page after page after page.
Did you try and use Chat GPT or anything like that to write an article for you about why it was done or what the effects are going to be?
I have not. No, I haven't gotten into the Chat GPT thing. I've seen that there's been a couple of legal battles around it now for people saying that you're basically plagiarizing works from books.
No, you 100% are. You 100% are. You absolutely
right.
Yes.
So that's probably going to go through some legal battles, I would imagine, with authors of that material.
Oh yeah, no, it absolutely will. And here's the other thing: because my business partner he likes to he just screws around with it. Really, we don't use it in our work in any way or anything like that because we really don't need it. But he's just he's doing searches for different to get leads and all this other kind of stuff, and it's not hard to prove it wrong, like most of the time. Because what I'm saying? It's not incredibly accurate.
Right. Exactly. The one time I've played with it so far was to come up with a podcast headline.
Yeah.
Right. I put in several keywords and a couple of sentences, and it spit out like 3 options. I was like, that's pretty cool. It actually will. And I picked one of them. I was like, hey, that's cool. I can do that, but I'm not going to use it as research and then go out there and post with it. Not anytime soon anyway. I think there's some legal battles that are going to get fought over the content itself in court, probably.
Well, it's not it's not chat or anything like that, but AI. Already, you had Elon Musk. And here's one thing you never see in the news is Tesla is like under all kinds of lawsuits for wrongful deaths. Okay, I wonder if people understand that, right? When they start talking about autonomous vehicles, and one of them, you got Elon Musk had to answer questions as to which statements he made did he actually make or were they AI?
Right.
because he's saying, I never said that it is autopilot, which is complete baloney because it even shows it and says it right on their website.
Well, you know what's scary? Okay, so
Yeah.
do you watch Star Wars?
I mean, not like over and over again, but I've seen it. Yes.
Okay. So in the recent movies, they've brought back actors that are dead, right?
Oh, cool.
Using deep fake AI.
Wow.
And it looks so real. It is scary.
I see. I don't like that stuff. I think that even the inventors and lead people in AI are like, we need to control this fast.
Right.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it isn't good when
You could make a video of a president of a country saying things and it would look.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. You could.
Yeah.
No, it's not a good thing. AI and all. I mean, we're way off topic, but there's change for the sake of change. It usually works out bad.
Yeah, it ends up getting refined and revised and so forth, and then you get an end product that you can actually use.
Yep. And we have the human race, and anybody who says, "Oh, we'll use it wisely and it'll be no big deal," you're wrong. We abuse everything. As humans, we have abused everything.
Absolutely. I know. Yeah, it's
we are the last planet in the universe that needs to be sending out messages saying, "Hey, come visit us."
Come see our planet. You'll love it here.
See how great we are.
Yep, no doubt. No doubt. I think, and one of the original big uses of oil itself was heating lamps to I'm not heating lamps, lighting lamps, basically.
Sure. Yeah. The lamp street light.
The lamp, street lights, and home lights industry was like number one. And then
heating
it was like
oil and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, because cars back in the day, cars started out, they were electric. They went from steam to electric. They didn't go to oil.
Yeah.
They didn't go to gas.
Exactly. Steam and the steam trains. You ever see videos of the old steam train?
Oh, sure. Yeah. We had to build one in physics back in the day.
Okay.
But it's interesting because the reason that OPEC was formed makes sense because you had this huge discovery, and you had these in these rather incredibly poor countries. Okay, then you had these countries that, and if you read through history, if maybe you recall in your history classes, etc., these were the leading scientific and theologians and philosophers for a long time, and then suddenly stopped. Right? I mean, it's almost eerie how it just stopped, and the rest of the world went on, and then. So they were relatively very poor countries that had this massive wealth of natural resource that the rest of the world needed a good, strong infrastructure to support it. And therefore, OPEC was okay at that time, right?
Right.
But now you've got incredibly powerful, very, very rich countries that don't need to sell enough oil for us to live, controlling the supply of oil. Not such a great thing anymore.
Yeah.
Not such a great thing anymore. And putting oil on the commodities market like wheat and sugar and so on and so forth made sense before. But now your pocketbook, your livelihood, in many cases, because I've seen it as recently as just a couple of years ago, where the price of oil impacted people's livelihood because they couldn't afford to drive to work. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I saw it in 2008 and I saw it then. And you see it every once in a while. It's controlled by sentiment, and it's been controlled by people who do nothing but try and make money off of trading oil. I don't know about you, but it just seems wrong. It doesn't help the wheat industry or the bread industry or anybody like that smooth their prices out and stuff like that. In fact, I can only, and you can, and anybody, you can only point to one instance where an actual company utilized futures of oil to actually run a good business. That's Southwest Airlines, period.
Right.
That's the only one anybody I can ever point to.
Right.
Yet it's still a commodity that's traded. Why? Money.
Yep. play the swings, right? Play the ups and the downs. And if you do it right, you can make a lot of money.
Yes, you can. Yes, you can. And that's the only reason it's a commodity.
Absolutely. Well, it's been an interesting thing to watch over all of these years. And we won't solve anything, you and I, today, but it is definitely interesting to watch the fuel and oil market. That's for sure.
I don't think anybody wants us to solve any of this stuff, really. I mean, but they should. They should want us to solve their fuel consumption and their emissions and their fuel spend and the recycling issues is what they should really be contacting you and I about.
Absolutely. We can work within the framework of what's here today and help companies and individuals make more money. So who doesn't want to make a little more money? I don't know anybody, actually.
Me neither. I'd like to.
Certainly helps pay the bills. Absolutely.
Yeah, heck yeah. I'll even take donations.
Yeah, exactly. We'll take charity donations.
I'm not a nonprofit.
Right. For profit charity.
I'm definitely for profit.
Absolutely. Well, Michael, it's fun as always to bandy about on these subjects in sustainability and energy and so forth. So that'll do it for this episode. Thanks for listening or watching, everybody, and we will see you again soon. Take care.
Peace and love, everybody.